Greetings and welcome. Welcome to this rather tumultuous time. So what do we do? What do we do with our fear and panic? Well, like most of us, as I was kind of sorting that out for myself, I began to surf the internet and I came across Deepak Chopra, who was suggesting that we do our breathing, and Abraham, who was reminding us that we are in charge of all of our cells, and Joe Dispensa, who was basically staying the same. And what I was inspired to do was to refer to or go to my own Akashic records. And as I did that, as I opened my records, and if you don't know what the Akashic records are, they are the records of the soul. They're the records of the soul of an individual, of a relationship, of a building, of a planet. And so as I was doing that, I remembered back in 2003 when my husband and I visited Auschwitz and Birkenau. And I was walking along the railroad tracks there, and I had just learned how to open the records, and I opened the records of the land. And I was very surprised about the message that came through for me at Auschwitz about the souls that left the planet there. And I was inspired then to open the records of planet Earth now. And I just sat at my table and I treated the planet Earth as if she were my client. And one of my standard questions that I ask when I open the records of someone, or even of myself, is, in the infinite wisdom of the soul, what is the bigger picture of this? And as I sat with that and I paused, I reflected on the book that I'm now writing, which is basically about the pandemic that we're experiencing as a planet. Because at this point, we are overstimulated, we are bombarded, we have surpassed our ability to process all the information. And we're entering into an era which is referred to as our planet suffering from global post-traumatic stress. So as I pondered that, I remembered being in the class of Lindsay Kenny when I was studying to become a provider of EFT. And at that point, we were taught that when we're dealing with anybody with a diagnosable disease that comes into our office, that one of the most pertinent questions we can ask is, what has happened in the last 18 to 24 months that may have started the ball rolling with this stress? And what they found is that very often somebody that was diagnosed with cancer or Parkinson's or some, again, diagnosable disease, that there was some incident that occurred that started that ball rolling. And I even remembered back in 1988 when my father died. And a year later, I went into a practitioner and I had developed an autoimmune response. And I remember him saying, it's very common that the body, once it has processed the grief, will collapse and will get sick. So I began putting all these pieces together. And I looked at the planet at large and was looking at how all of a sudden we are all dealing with this physical crisis. And then, of course, I came across Sylvia Browne's prediction that was made in 2008. And Sylvia Browne, in her book, End of Days, simply said, in around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the whole globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived. Attack again 10 years later, and then disappear completely. Now in 2008, she had this premonition. And now our planet is dealing with this crisis. I wanted to know from my records what could be the bigger picture of this. And what I was shown was that the stress has caught up with us. We have dealt with wars between nations, war with drugs, war with diseases, war within ourselves, and now our bodies are manifesting that. And we're being brought home to the war within. Now, the opportunity here is that as we exchange our socialization for our social isolation, we are given an opportunity to partner vertically with our higher selves and to take charge, take command of our bodies. And if we listen to the Deepak Chopras, if we listen to Joe Dispensa and Abraham and Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, and we come into alliance and listen to our own higher selves, then we can begin to take command of the cells of our bodies. We can begin to manage the war within us as we choose faith over fear. Now, what a beautiful time to do this in the wake of the equinox. So whether we are in the spring equinox or the winter equinox, depending what part of the planet you're on March 19th, we are going to be experiencing a day of balance. What a beautiful time to come into balance with ourselves. So I wanted to offer this EFT sequence that will enable us to take the polarities of the fear and the faith and move progressively more and more into a state of faith. So that's what I want to offer you today. That's what I want to bring forth, is a tapping sequence that will invite you to do that. Now, if you've never tapped with me, I recommend that you go to my website, you just pause this video, go to my website, and on that, I have a tab that says Interactive Tapping Explained. There's a great video from Gary Craig that talks about tapping, and there's one that talks about interactive tapping made for me. For right now, if you just want to do what I do and say what I say, as long as you're tapping on something, tapping is a self-administered form of acupressure. So instead of putting needles in or pressuring, we're just tapping the endpoints. We're sending an electrical impulse. So anything we are stimulating, we are neutralizing. Now, this is also a beautiful time to neutralize whatever is getting triggered for you. Each of us is coming into this situation with our own fight or flight responses that have been stored in our body. So every time we feel panic or fear about the current situation, it's rippling down and triggering the myriad of other times where we've responded the same way. So as we have to come into seclusion with ourselves, as we're being advised to do, we can use this time to go into meditation. We can use this time to go into prayer. We can use this time to settle our central nervous systems down. And I'm hoping that this EFT sequence that I'm going to offer to you right now will assist you in doing so. So take a deep breath. Again, we're going to be tapping on the different endpoints. And for those of you who may be new to this, when we get to the reminder phrases, I will demonstrate those. But for right now, just come to your karate right here. And we're going to be setting the intention. And the intention is to move from fear and panic to faith and hope. So just repeat after me. Even though in response to this coronavirus, all of my fear and panic, it's all been stimulated. And I want to begin to neutralize that now. So even though there are parts of me that are really running in fear. And I get obsessed with watching the news. Or I'm full of fear to go out of my house. I want to come into a state of discernment. I want to connect with my higher self, with my guardian angels, and find the place within me that I can feel peace and calm. So even though there's a lot of stimulation everywhere I look, and a vibration of fear and panic that's right outside my door, I choose to build the force field within me that will allow me to stay in that vibration of peace and love. All right, shake your hands out. Now we go around the different points of the body. The first one is the corner of the eyebrow, the side of the eye, under the eye, upper lip, lower lip. You'll see me do these together. That's how I was taught. Collarbone, under the arm, rib. You won't see that one quite as clearly, but I'll be doing the rib, the wrist, top of the head. Now, you can do no wrong with the tapping. And sometimes it's like I'll get involved in it and I'll skip a point. Just flow with it. Don't worry about doing it perfectly. Just keep tapping, because every time we tap, we are stimulating whatever the words are reflecting. And so wherever in your body you're holding that tension, it's like untying the knot. And remember, this ripples through all of the other times that you felt this. So all the inner children, all even the fragments of your soul that have been in this state before, the state of panic and fear, this is going to ripple down multidimensionally to heal that. So just follow along. I always start with this point. You start wherever you start. If it's confusing to watch me, close your eyes and just listen to my words. It's very forgiving. All of this panic and fear, it's really frightening. I can feel it inside my belly and my shortness of breath. I can find myself obsessed with watching for symptoms. I feel a floating fear. The panic is in the air. It's flooding the planet. And I want to calm it down. I want to give my central nervous system a way to calm down. As I calm down, as I come into resonance with my higher self, and I come into that place of faith, I can command every cell in my own body. I can work with stepping into a state of peace. I can use this time of self-isolation or self-quarantine, or even the time that my body may need to heal. And I can use it for self-reflection. And as I augment my force field with the vibration of peace and calm, I can share that energetically with the world. I now give you, my body, permission to vibrate to its immaculate state of health. I flood every cell with the vibration of love. I am willing to be a conduit for health, for myself, for my loved ones, for all those that are on behalf of humanity carrying this diagnosis. I hold the vibration for them as well. I now envision my body being filled with the liquid elixir of light. Now close your eyes. And as I envision that bubble of light around me, I extend it to the universe at large. I offer this healing to the children within me, to the fragments of my soul that ripple through time and space. And I offer this healing to humanity, to Mother Earth herself. I hold this stance of love and peace and welcome this opportunity to heal. Now, rub your hands together. Bring your left hand to your heart, your palm to your third eye. We're going to borrow a technique from Global Coherence. And just breathe in to your heart and breathe out your third eye. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, as Deepak Chopra says, and many others, our breath takes us back to a state of calm. Our breath expands us to that inner being, to that higher self. And we want to spend as much time in our non-physical self as we can. We want to draw on our guardians as much as we can. And we want to draw from all of those that are bringing forth their healing techniques. Try to turn away from the news and go to places like this tapping sequence, like the teachings of Abraham, like Joe Dispensa, like Alicia Power. I just recently discovered her in an Ancient Wisdoms Summit, which I recommend you look up. I'll put the links down below. And she works with a team of spiritual surgeons. Christine Day is bringing in loads and loads of vibrational love to the planet. There's so much support for us to shift this. And I feel that one of the ways we can look at this pandemic is that it's an opportunity for us to bring it home. We feel so disconnected from those externalized wars. This one is within our reach to do something personally and then collectively. And I hope that this EFT sequence has added to that medicine bag of tricks for you to heal. If you want more personalized sequences, then call me. I'm preparing some sort of offer to do an Akashic record reading for individuals through Zoom, through Skype, through the phone. And on that, we'll open your records and ask what, in the divine wisdom of your own soul, is the most effective way for you to use this situation. And then we will construct a tapping sequence that's unique to you. So just call me. Call me at the number listed below. And thank you. Thank you for your willingness to listen to this and to use the Ho'oponopono to take responsibility for each of our contributions and therefore opportunities to heal this. Namaste.